Hi guys, it's our Nerds and Fangirls, and today I thought I would do something a little bit different. Now, I've seen this circulating through BookTube a lot recently, and that's reading one-star comments about our favorite books. So I have chosen 5 books off the bat, and I'm going to be reading 3 negative comments about each one of them. I have 5 books. I have some liquor for whenever someone mentions the main character or other characters' names to make it more fun, and I have my Christmas tree and lights up to provide mood lighting. So let's get started, shall we? So the first one I have here is The Way I Used to Be by Amber Smith. I'm using Goodreads for the negative comments, because a lot of people like to have discussions about books on Goodreads, and I thought it would be fun. I will also not be doing like 1, 2, 3 review. I'm just going to be scrolling to a random comment and reading it. So let's get started. Do-do-do. Too juvenile and awfully repetitive. It covers 4 years of Eden's life. Yet each year is exactly the same, just fluffed up with a different background. It's supposed to cover 4 years, yet it was fast-forwarded a lot, and the reader is left to figure out where A and B came from. There is absolutely no character development. The annoyance wasn't for how Eden chose to cope, nor am I belittling rape. The subject was just not done justice. Okay, I'll give her that one. Next comment. So painful to read, I wish I didn't bother. I don't know about that one, but okay. I am changing my review from 2.5 stars to 1.5 stars. I feel after I simmered on this book, it made me more angry and much less interested in reading any more of the author's books. Everything in here was as if a writer heard one particular rape story and decided to roll with it. If that was the case, the book deserved 2.5 stars. But as a reader, I expect the author to do their research on sore subjects. I will say this book did really well with rolling 4 years in one, and the characters freshman and summer or sophomore year were more than tolerable. But I just cannot put into words how uncharacteristic it would be for a middle-class white female to act this way. She had a good home, a good family, and she blamed everyone around her for not listening to her when she said nothing and did nothing. It made me feel this book was giving the worst kind of message to young women who survived rape. I should probably stop now before I say something awful. Altogether, every time I think of this book, I think of a lost progress into today's society. Okay. I'll give her that. Let's read the last comment since that one. That one of them was very short. 1.5 stars. Books on this subject are incredibly important for creating discussions about rape. Its aftermath, the treatment of rape victims. I just feel like this book didn't add anything to the discussion. Okay. It was just on one big torture spiral. Nothing ever got better for Eden. There was no hope for her. That message is never a good thing. So yeah, I hated this book. I got all the way through it, and I really had a hard time with it. I read Exit, Pursued by a Bear, and loved it. This narrator drove me nuts. She made the worst choices, and I had a hard time with no one noticing something is wrong, and trying to get her to talk about it for years. I just hated this book. There was also one thing I didn't like about this book is how no one seemed to notice what she was going through. It's just a phase, she'll get over it. It just, I feel like a lot of people were really self-centered about themselves in this book and didn't really ask Eden what was really happening. Like, yeah, she didn't really say anything, but at the same time, you know, it's kind of like, a lot of people avoided that. Like, especially her mother in the beginning of it. Her mother was she was trying to tell her mom, and her mother just kept talking, and it was just like, I don't know. So let's go on to Tricks by Ellen Hawkins. Believe it or not, this one doesn't really have a lot of monster reviews. I have always liked Ellen Hawkins' books, so I was looking forward to reading Tricks. Though when I started reading, I was surprised in the difference from her other stories. I feel like I was forcing myself to read some of the character stories rather than enjoying them. I believe that if the book would have been based on the character Eden only, I would have enjoyed it more. So Eden's one of the main characters. And I actually agree. I really liked Eden's story, and I wish it had focused on Eden a little bit more. But I feel like if it focused on Eden, it would be a lot reminiscent about the book Burned, also by Ellen Hawkins. Like, was her name Peyton? I think her name was Peyton. It would be exactly like Peyton's situation in a way, only a little bit different. So I feel like she couldn't just do Eden because it would be so reminiscent about Peyton on Burned. So, like, I get why she did it, but Eden was, like, the best part of that book. I usually like her books. Tough but realistic stories. This one had another tough and realistic story, but I just felt like there was way too much unnecessary graphic sex for a YA novel. I'm not really gonna argue that, but when you're reading a book about prostitution, you should really just prepare for it to have sex scenes in it. Like, the book's about prostitution. I'm like, what else would it be about? I had to put this one down. I am usually pretty liberal, but this one made me feel icky. I am weeding it from my library to reading. If Hopkins was going for shock value, she achieved it. I understand that this is the kind of stuff kids want to read. One is too much. This teen angst, what Saul is to horror. Ugh. Okay, I understand a lot of these comments. One is like really just like says disliked it. Why did you dislike it? I wanna know. Okay, let's move on to my next book, which is A Reaper at the Gates. I feel like I haven't read negative reviews about this newest book. Like, this one broke me. So I'm just gonna read, like, a lot of people aren't really like, it seems like there's a lot of people that are in the vast majority for this. This one's a long one. So, let's get started. Okay. Very disappointing. The series started out somewhat promising, but just kept going downhill from there. I almost couldn't even finish this one, but I had already gotten more than halfway through when I started getting really desperate. And I can't stand to throw something away after I've already invested that much effort. Sadly, my dissatisfaction remained through the end of the book. Spoilers. In trying to think why this book resonates so poorly with me, I decided it's because there is absolutely no one to root for. And if you break down the characters and plots objectively, that's not just a personal opinion. There are literally no characters worth investing in. The scholars are massacred and enslaved in mass. Why? It's never really made clear. We're just supposed to feel sorry for them because they are treated poorly by everyone, especially the marshals. But then we find out that 1,000 or so years ago, the scholars tricked the jinn and imprisoned them because the scholars were greedy for the jinn's knowledge or power or something. Again, nothing in this series is really clearly explained. So are the scholars really that sympathetic after all? The marshals are concerned only with their own pride, care not a bit for outsiders and own slaves. Pretty much everyone can agree that any culture that owns slaves is not a progressive, nice one. The marshals are thus completely unsympathetic. Helene, oh god. Helene's my favorite character for people who don't know. Now only referred to as Bloodstrike. Yeah, that one, got on my nerves too. I love Helene, and yet it's all Bloodstrike. She has a name. I know that's her title, but at the same time, it's oh. Was presented in the first book as a smart badass who could only outthink opponents and solve puzzles. That was promising. Throughout the entirety of the second and third book, she is stymied at every single turn by the Commandant. Okay, but the Commandant's a really smart lady, so I think she's also trained them, so that makes a little sense. Oh, Helene again. Helene is given the one task of toppling the Commandant, and she spends pages thinking through strategies for 10 different directions, only to have the Commandant repeatedly find the 11th path that Helene didn't consider and come out on top. Ew. It's tiresome and severely weakens any interest one could have in Helene. Since she literally never succeeds, even when she's supposed to. Another strike. Helene is praised for loving her people. The marshals, at several points in the story, that they are literal slavers. That is no way to make a character out to be synthetic. Elias and Laia. I feel they're gonna get me drunk in here. 1, 2. I got the liquor that has been in there longest, so it keeps it interesting. Were the reasons I picked up this series to begin with. The promise of their romance, well, it was a bit too insta-love. Kept me reading. Okay, side note, I hate the romance between Laia and Elias. There's something about them that makes me go, no, I don't like this ship. I'm just, no. With them. I don't actually like Elias as a character anymore. God. I hope I find someone who hates Elias more as a character than me. This is probably the strongest element that the author had going for her, and yet for some reason, by the last half of the second book, the author made a decision to not only separate Elias and Laia, but to then have Elias go on the loose on to lose his humanity by becoming the soul catcher and dump Laya. That was my favorite part of the book. No, wait, actually, not really. Like, I feel bad for Laya when he dumped her, because Laya actually grew on me as a character. Great job earning one of the big reasons people read your books, author. Actually, I like the plot to this series. I don't like the romance in it, actually. Elias and Laya are both incredibly annoying and whiny. Thank you so much. I actually agree 100%. They're so annoying and whiny. We get it, guys. You have so much guilt because people die and you didn't help them, even though there was seriously nothing you could have done. And everything is your fault. And if you were just a little stronger, everything would be rainbows and kins. Ugh. The Commandant is still pure, unadulterated evil. That makes her too much for a caricature to be interesting. The Nightbringer was a bit interesting until it was revealed that his whole motivation is to free his Jinn brethren and then wreak vengeance on the scholar population because their great-great-great-great-great-grandparents did a stupid greedy thing and imprisoned the Jinn. Didn't you hear, Nightbringer? The marshals are already taking care of that part, so you are irrelevant. There is zero tension throughout this book because absolutely everything that happens is happening based off a prophecy regardless of character agency. The characters keep making decisions in an attempt to change the prophecy, but they never succeed. How is the reader supposed to stay interested when every single plot point is mandated and character actions make no difference? Finally, perhaps the biggest overarching issue continues to be the fact that this story's world is a complete mess. The different culture groups, mariners, scholars, etc., almost all blend together because they are not written distinctly enough from each other. The only one that is a tribal group, the magic system is complete chaos. There's reference to fae creatures that include wights, reeves, Ephraim's Jinn, etc. There's something called physical magic that is never actually explained. Some characters just randomly seem to have access to it, and all of their powers are totally different. There's death magic that lets a chosen person communicate with a god of death and ferry ghosts to the afterlife. There's ghost possessions that turn normal people into superhuman monsters. The list goes on, and nothing is written in a cohesive way, in a way that creates a living system with any sense to it. Just really disappointing. I actually like that review. I had a lot of fun with that. Thank you. I enjoyed Helene's storyline, but this book didn't have the same magic as the first two. Cheers to that. I think if it wasn't for Helene, I would seriously not read this series. Okay, last comment. I thoroughly enjoyed the other two books in the series, however, I did not care for this book at all. Pretty self-explanatory. I thought this would make me cry, but it's really not. So let's go to one of my other favorite series. Let's see. No, what is... Okay, so it wasn't Satan's Stone. There we go, the 13th Prophecy. Like, did anyone else read Demon Kissed? Like, I read Demon Kissed and thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't see a lot of booktubers like, okay, this one's gonna be really short because there's only, like, literally one person who cared to rate this book and then say something about it. So let's read their review and then go on to the last one. Actually, nah, I'm just gonna read Demon Kissed ones. I thought it would be better to... Like, I read this series the whole way through, and I read it when I was a teenager, so it's one of my favorite series. So, let's get started. Oh, yay. I'm actually really surprised that this book is getting the stellar reviews that it is. The plot was all over the place, undeveloped, and the writing was... abysmal. Eesh, I won't be waiting for the sequel. Okay, fair enough. But this was by an indie author, and she just barely started writing, so I wasn't, like, going for spectacular on this one. If you want to lose a few IQ points and plummet into a deep, dark zombie state that will leave you without a competent thought left in your brain, then this book is for you. You might find the protagonist's obsession with choice, damnation, and fate something that will leave you in a constant state of boredom. I sure did. I was ignorant in my reading choice today, and you might be too, so I will give you a few life lessons. Never trust the good reviews on anything. The bad ones are honest, if a little pissed off, and will sure to give you an opinion on the book that doesn't give you the impression that this book is worth reading. Now you can ignore my advice and go on with your quest for making your own decisions, but trust this internet stranger and put this book down and read another book. Here, I'll give you some suggestions. The Hollow series by Kim Harrison, the Dark Fever series, any other book that isn't this one should be just fine. Okay, I like that person's review. That was funny. I can't do it. DNF'd at 61%. This book had so much potential, however, the plot and characters are underdeveloped. The descriptions are all inconsistent. The writing is choppy and lacked a good, strong flow. Such a disappointment. Like, I'll have to agree with that one, but I don't know. I was, like, there since the beginning of this book. Like, literally, I followed this author for most of her journey in writing this book, so I think I was a little bit biased on this book. I'll have to reread this series and see if I like it. But I think I liked it because of the relationship between Ivy and Colin. So last but not least, the one that's gonna hurt me is My Baby, Shadow Kissed by Rochelle Mead. This is like one of my all-time favorite books. And I know there are quite a few people that don't like the Vampire Academy series out there. So let's get started with one of these reviews. Couldn't even get through half. Rose is a whiny, immature character who I want to shake every 4 pages or so. The friendship and bond between her and Lissa is one of my favorite parts. Was sort of pushed to the side and replaced by anger and angstiness. The build-up about the darkness around Rose made me annoyed. Clear to me as a reader, unclear to character. Annoyed to realize she couldn't figure it out. Ridiculous choice for not saying anything about the so-called ghost. You have a character that can talk to you in dreams. Why would a ghost be so far out the realm of possibility? Geez, just talk to someone about it and stop being so damn tough. Also, I gave Dimitri 3 books to try and grow on me as a character. But I still fly as a board. Actually, Dimitri is one of my favorite characters. So I guess I really like the boring types because a lot of people say Dimitri is a really boring love interest. I think he's one of the best love interests I've read, but that's just like my personal opinion, which makes him, which makes his attraction to Rose even weirder. He just likes a 17-year-old who's immature and childish creepy. I actually like the relationship between Rose and Dimitri, but I can see why people have problems with it. The fact that she loses her virginity to her mentor / instructor is just creepy. Again, I can see where you're coming from. I am done with this series. I tried, I really did. I just hate Rose so much. And Dimitri is so boring. The only character I liked was Adrian, so maybe I'll try the Bloodlines books. I actually really enjoy the Bloodlines books, but they're not as great as Vampire Academy series. In my personal opinion. Let's read one more. I'm looking for a big one. Oh, here's a big one. Woo! I didn't even make it a third of the way through this book. Despite how much I really enjoyed Frostbite, this book just did not do it for me. Why does Mead feel like the need to literally recap everything from the first 30 pages of the book, each book? Like, yes, I already knew what Royster, Goy, and Dampier are. I've already read 2 books about them. Like, I see why people say that's annoying, because I also feel like it's annoying, but I feel like the book series are really good, so I just don't really care. Also, I really find Dimitri and Rose's relationship to be annoying. Am I the only one that can see how wrong it is? Actually, like, a lot of people can see how wrong it is, but it's like, you know, the power to differentiate between real life and fantasy, and this is fantasy. Not many occurrences like this happen in real life. Real life, like, they do happen, but, you know, they're extremely frowned upon in society. When, like, a guy Dimitri's age likes a girl Rose's age, but it's purely fantasy, so I don't really mind it in the books, but, you know, I actually really mind it in real life. I don't like her in real life. I'm not trying to be preachy, but he literally is 7 years older than her and in a power position above her, which means he could easily manipulate her, which he frequently does when he goes back and forth on his feelings every 50 pages. Like, it's literally toying with the feelings of a minor, but it's okay because Dimitri is written as a good guy. He constantly tells her to grow up, which is so hypocritical because he literally has a crush on his student, and he's the one that can't make up his mind about her. The only reason I started to enjoy the series was because of the introduction of Adrian, which I thought would have been a good match for Rose. Okay, pause on that. It is okay for Adrian to have a crush to like Rose when Adrian is 21 to 22 years old, but Dimitri, who is like only 2 years Adrian Sr. can have a crush on Rose. Adrian, like, Dimitri's only 24. If Dimitri was like, maybe like, I get it. I get that this is not an appropriate relationship because his position over her, but what about whenever Rose graduates? Then do people have a problem when Rose is of age and can finally be with Dimitri? Like, I just want to know. I want to know if people have a problem with it as soon as Rose, like, Rose turns 18 in the next book. Like, actually, at the end of this book, she's 18. So technically, Rose and Dimitri's relationship is technically legal. I should look up the state bylaws, because by a certain age Rose is illegal. is legal. Like, what Dimitri and Rose do is completely legal. So, if they want to have a relationship, that's totally up to them. I get it. I get why it's creepy, but at the same time, it's kind of like, if you think Dimitri and Rose is creepy, I think you should at least think the same way about Adrian and Rose. He is actually a really interesting character, and him and Rose could have brought out the best in each other. But, like, Adrian and Sydney are, like, so great as a couple, so I'm glad it didn't work. But he already seems like a useless toy Rose uses to get what she wants. I'm sorry, but she is so terrible to Adrian. When literally all he's ever done is help her and be kind to her. So I'll give her that. Because I didn't really like how Rose treated Adrian. Like, I get that Adrian is a fuckboy, but at the same time, reading the Bloodline series, I see that Adrian is really a good guy, and I don't like how Rose treated him either. So I can't really be mad at people for being mad at Rose for that. Dimitri literally talks down her so much, it makes her feel like crap about herself. But Adrian always treats her with respect, despite the fact that he's a royal, etc. But all Rose does is go on about how much she hates him. Why? Literally, there is no reason for her to hate him when he literally tried to save her in Frostbite. I don't know, I didn't really like Dimitri's behavior, too, but I literally love Dimitri and Rose as a couple. And, like, you can't have, like, the best of both worlds. Like, people don't want Dimitri to feel anything for Rose, and when he tries to be an authoritative figure, Rose challenges him. Like, Rose is an infuriating character all around, but I still love her in ways, but I do agree that she isn't the best love interest. It's so obvious that Rose and Dimitri will end up together. So the whole love triangle things are just stupid. I agreed. Like, I literally hated that Rose had to have another love interest in all these books. Why couldn't Dimitri just be her one love interest? It was so obvious from the very start that Dimitri was gonna win out in the end. So why the fuck didn't we have to get through all this shit with Adrian and Rose? Like, ugh. I just didn't get it. It is stupid, so pointless to even read sections of these books about Mason, Jesse. To be fair, Jesse wasn't even a contender past Vampire Academy. He was just like a fine person she could make out with. So Adrian, any male ever, because all Rose cares about is Dimitri. And he's all she'll ever care about. I mean, come on, she literally has a crush on her teacher, and she thinks she'll never be able to love anyone else. So dramatic. Lissa is honestly so bland and boring in every single book. I agree. Lissa is one of my least favorite characters in any series ever, because she's just so needy, and all she really ever does is complain about things like, Rose, I thought you were my best friend. Why are you choosing him? Because I love him. And I'm just over here like, yeah, bitch. Stop being so needy all the time. God. She's just a fragile little thing that everyone has to coddle and care for constantly. End of about Lissa. Yeah. Rose. Now I understand that Rose is witty and funny. And we love her because she's a real and relatable. I'm so sorry, but she is an asshole. I agree that Rose can be an asshole. She treats the men in her life like absolute crap. If she doesn't get her way, she literally throws a tantrum. She uses her looks to manipulate people. We literally hated Mia for doing these things, but when Rose does it, it's okay because she has a sense of humor. Okay, whatever. Okay, that turned into a bit of a rant. Basically, the first two books looked really promising. I genuinely thought Frostbite was so good, but this kind of just reiterated the direction the story is going in, and I'm not interested. So I like that review. That was actually a good review to end up on. So I made it through this much of my glass, and that was actually really fun to read. I thought me drinking alcohol while doing these were actually really good. I might do it in the second installment when I read positive comments about books I hate. Stay tuned for that. So what do you guys think about this? Should I read more negative reviews while drinking on any other books I like? Comment down below and let me know. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!